Hello everyone, this is Marianne here from Revealing Light, Astrology, Spirituality and Tarot. Revealing Light, Tarot, Astrology and Spirituality. I'm here tonight because somebody asked me to see if I could do a channeling with ALEISTER Crowley, the creator along with Lady Frieda Harris of the Toth deck. Now, some of you know him as a spiritualist, and he certainly was an occultist. Others know of him as, evil, whatever that word means. But I'm here to see what I can pick up. I must say, before I get into it, I've got a couple of pictures in front of me because it always helps me to tune into the energy of Crowley and also Marguerite Frieda Harris. She insisted that she be known as Lady Frieda Harris, and I'll get to that a bit later. But the images of Crowley, I had to, the well-known ones, I just describe him as piercing. Those images are piercing, and it's a perception it's very, very powerful. So I thought, I can't channel you with a picture like that. I'll have to look and see if I can find a younger picture of you that's a little bit more, and I'm just going to say palatable to me. This is the picture I've chosen. This is a little known fact about Crowley was he was actually a very talented mountain climber. Less known for that than he is for his occultism. Now, I wasn't sure I was going to do this. This is the Halloween tonight, October the 31st, in Australia. By the time you get this in the Northern Hemisphere, it will be your Halloween as well. And somebody said, can you do this? And I wasn't going to because I thought, but all day I have been seeing spirit around me. And I thought, well, if I don't go out there, if I don't allow myself to, even though it's not comfortable to connect with him, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be okay because I think it was probably when I first bought the Toth deck, I thought he can't be all that bad, surely not. And this is a man who went to Cambridge. I'll give you the facts as I have researched them, and then beyond that, I only know what, I guess folklore, but I don't know any details. But this is what I got off the net as an introduction, and then we'll move into clairvoyance and a little bit of mediumship work to see what I'm going to pick up. I must say I'm more comfortable with Lady Frieda Harris than I am with Crowley, but there you go. Let's start with ALEISTER Crowley. I'm actually going to invite both of them forward tonight and see where we get to. ALEISTER Crowley, of course, was an occultist. He was born on the 12th of October, 1875. He had a life path number of 7, which is interesting because 7 is all about experience, and I'll talk a little bit about the clairvoyant images that I was receiving all day about him. He passed away on the 1st of December 1947, and the number 47 has been prominent with me for months and months and months now. I think he attained a lot of knowledge in this lifetime that we're going to delve into. He founded the religion Thelema. He saw himself as a prophet. He was known as a recreational, I guess we'd call them, but hard drugs really for him, and a bisexual and a social critic. He came from a moneyed family. Again, I just got bare details. I didn't go right into anything other than he had an estranged relationship with his mother. he was, his family were evangelical Christians, and you can see where some of this mythology started to come from. His mother referred to him as the beast. But he was a very, very, very clever man, and I think that now I'm moving into sort of a clairsentience here. I believe that Crowley was such a clever person that he could have, had he not strayed into the extremes, he could have really contributed in I guess a more, rather than this drugs and sex and cults kind of pathway that he chose. Again, 7, the number of learning, the number of notches on the belt, the number of wisdom earned and learnt. Had he not taken that path, I think he probably could, having attended Cambridge and studied philosophy, he was a playwright, a poet and a novelist, and I think he could have left a very different legacy there, but there was this undertone of evangelical religion that I think had been drummed into him at a very early age. And also he rebelled against that. But anyway, okay, that's Crowley. Now I get to Lady Frieda Harris, which is why I own the Toth deck. She painted those images, and I just feel like he's waiting for me. I don't think that I don't think I've channeled anyone that makes me so uncomfortable. It's a sexuality thing with him. Now I don't mean that in the sense that well, yeah, okay, I shouldn't chop around. It is a sexuality thing with him. And we go to the sacral chakra, which of course is expression and sexuality and confidence. So he had that in spades. I probably should do a chakra reading on him with the Toth deck that later after this. Now I want to get to, sorry I'm chopping around, but I'm just getting so many thoughts coming through. The Toth deck was painted by Lady Frieda Harris, Marguerite Frieda Harris. She wasn't a lady in the sense of the aristocracy, but she insisted on calling herself that, and others calling herself that as well. She studied sciences, philosophy and occult systems, and she brought all that together in the painting, all Crowley's science, philosophy and occult systems into the painting of the tarot. They are magnificent. The paintings are magnificent. They have a geometry basis to them, as well as a higher philosophy, anthroposophy, which of course brings in Rudolf Steiner's work. She corresponded with Rudolf Steiner as well during the creation of the deck. Her paintings, every single one of those cards are owned by the Wahlberg Institute. She was born or lived 1877 and passed away in 1962. She spent 5 years drawing the Toth deck. Neither Crowley nor Frieda Harris, Lady Frieda Harris, lived to see the publication of the Toth deck, which it was published in 1969. Okay, so interesting numbers. It is a 1969, highly evolved numbers. It's almost like a renaissance in terms of the numbers, the 9 and the 6. And of course we get to that high vibration, Tesla's higher vibration numbers. It's special, the deck. It's not evil, okay? It is not evil. It is very special. Now I'm feeling a little bit of approval coming from Crowley. Okay, so Lady Frieda Harris was a student of anthroposophy, which, as I said, was a philosophy developed by Rudolf Steiner, which aims to give spiritual expressions spiritual experiences a similar clarity which the natural sciences have attained, basically human wisdom. Okay, so she studied art, the art of project geometry. She was massively clever woman ahead of her time, which is why I think she deserves to be called Lady Frieda. Good on her. This was the deck incorporated mathematical composition and balance. Crowley's multi-dimensional symbology. So that's the two of them. I earlier today, I should start with the clairvoyant, or the messages or images that were coming through to me. Again, I felt that Crowley was misunderstood, but I also got images of, in his later life, well, perhaps not his later life, wherever he was living, there was a house, I think, in England that was the headquarters for his occult activities. I saw women swinging from ceilings, so I'm getting the impression that he had a lot of parties. And you can call them what you like, but that, I would just, call them swinging parties, literally women swinging from the ceiling, from the chandeliers. I'm afraid there was a debauchery there, and I don't mean that in the evil sense. He was, again, let's just start with Crowley. He was a man that was ahead of his time. He looked to the sky. There was something around stars and the sky. So we probably have got some astrological symbolism in the Toth deck. I haven't drilled down in it. I might after this, though. I do feel that his occult activities went to some fairly dark places. I won't. I'm getting the image of, the goat's head, that kind of imagery that you associate with occultism. So there was definitely that about him. But this was more around fulfilling or satisfying a hunger and a need for him to explore as far out, like go to the regions, go out to the regions, like the regions of the mind, the regions of the spirit. Wasn't curtailed or hemmed in by the mind. And so when you get that ability, some would call it imagination, some then would also call it an ability to see the universe in a way. And I'm not saying that lightly. I think he did have that ability. But when you get that, it's like a drug in itself. And so he then went toward illicit drugs to extend that out. He wanted more and more and more. It's like he didn't know when to stop. And the same thing with his occult activities. When he was in that state, let's just call it an extreme state, it is a lower vibrating state. And of course, this going out into the extreme levels at a lower vibration, I'm just getting the words was fun. So there was, oh my goodness me, it's a little bit a la AKA Elon Musk. There's some kind of psychological thing here that he was a thrill seeker, hence his climbing. He didn't fear danger at all, and so he was able to explore those regions, or that outer region of the mind, of the spirit, of the experience is what I'm hearing, the outer regions of the experience, because he thought that experiences would bring him wisdom. What did you learn at the end of the day in spirit? It was part of his evolution. It was part of his learning. So evil, he's saying, is such a trite word to describe this. Evil is more measured in how you impact on others, and he is more ashamed of anybody that he hurt in his lifetime. This is his higher self talking than he is ashamed of. I'm just going to say, conjuring up things that perhaps would have been best left alone. Yeah, there were people around him. This is what he's sorry for. There were people around him that didn't have the strength or the wisdom that he may have had and were hurt by those experiences, paranoia, fear, and attachments I'm feeling. So these would be members of his cult. It's like it all, when you move into that level of debauchery. I'm very, very hot here now. Not only do you hurt those around you, but you hurt yourself. And I think his drug use in his latter years would have been, he's just saying an erosion of his physical body. So these weren't good experiences for him in this lifetime. And he remains watchful. He remains watchful to see whether, I guess through his major work, the Toth deck and the accompanying book, whether people will actually be able to see into this multi-dimensional It's an energy, multi-dimensional energy that that has been created in the Toth deck. Now, his relationship with Lady Frieda Harris was sublime, he's telling me. And she interpreted his symbolism, his occult and spiritual symbolism or system in a way that even surpassed his intention. And I do know he had a very, very high regard for her. She also, as I said, I don't know much about her. She was married, I think, to an MP. She also met Crowley at a level, at this kind of, we would look to the 1960s if we were thinking in a modern day equivalent of sex, drugs and rock and roll and the, hippie freedom movement. It's where they were at in their timelines. And she resonated with him at that level. But she was an extremely, extremely intelligent, talented woman ahead of her time. So to just say the Toth deck is some kind of a piece of occultist work is really extremely simplistic. Let's move into the clairvoyance, and I can just sense so much. I mean, All Hallows Eve, I can just sense the veil being very, very thin here. Let's move into some clairvoyance. Okay, so I'm seeing the symbolism of the star. What is this star? It's like the star is the sun in the sky. So there's something around the sky. It's like they thought that, as I said, experiential living and exploration was a way to ascend. So there was an ascension thing that was really important to Crowley. He also thumbed, he thumbed his nose at society as well. Part of that had to do with his early upbringing. He's saying, imagine being a small child and being called the beast. But there was also an element of humour in what his mother was saying, because he had no other way of taking it but to think that it was funny. Because what other way could he take it? And of course, this influenced him as he got older and into adulthood. That when others would call him evil in that superficial way, or accuse him of, being in touch with the devil, he would think that was quite funny, because your beliefs are your beliefs, and his beliefs are his beliefs, or were his beliefs, and they had nothing, what he did had nothing to do with anybody else's judgment. He was, oh God, it's more than a free spirit. It's like a force of, he had a lot of power, ALEISTER Crowley, raw power. Where did this come from? I mean, I really don't know how far I'll go with this, because it's a little bit full on. I'm just seeing swirling vortexes of darkness, really. He thought of himself as an explorer, and there are more than one way to climb. You can climb up and you can climb down, and they are all part of the one thing. Only your judgment distinguishes between the two. I'm not sure I want to dive headlong into dark vortexes. I'd rather go the other way, dive up to the light. I think he thought that if he went down through the darkness, that he would be eventually able to perceive the light. I mean, he really did want to ascend, but he got it's a little bit tragic. It's almost like in the extremism, the hedonism, it's like he almost got trapped. Not almost, he did. He got trapped in those dark vortexes. What can you show me? What symbolism? Yeah, it's like he wanted to pierce through veils that nobody else had pierced through, and it was almost like he was putting his humanity on the line, because I'm getting an image of Leonardo da Vinci's the whatever that is, the man. You know what I mean. And it's speeding. It's like being driven through the universe at an incredible speed. And so there was sort of like a sacrificing there. It's like his sanity. So I feel that he perhaps lived on the edge of insanity, whatever insanity might be, maybe out of control. And again, every time I go with that logic, because he studied philosophy at Cambridge University, so the edge of insanity, he theorised, could have gone full circle. Again, this wisdom. And this is where we see the occult system. What did I say? And this is why we've got a link with Frieda, Lady Frieda and Rudolf Steiner as well. There's something around human wisdom. Again, the number 7. And he died in 1947, the 1st of December 1947. Okay, I'm going to kick this up into a higher, less about his human life and more about his higher self. So now we're getting to the light. Okay, so he came here to learn and to experience and to actually move toward, oh, it's only a moth, oh my God, to move toward the light, the moth toward the flame. How interesting. The moth toward the flame. That's okay. Okay, the moth toward the light. He came here to dive down through the darkness so that he could actually come toward the light. Now, this is he had 3 1s in his birth date, which is the beginning and the initiation, and he also has 3 1s in the day that he passed, again another initiation. And there was potential also. I'm looking at his numbers. There was a potentiality, and we've got here this huge focus on change and experience in his numerology. He has the unity numbers. I call them unity numbers 1 and 2 in any combination in his December death date, the date that he passed. Also moving toward an ending of a cycle and the attainment of foundational wisdom. Okay, what do you need to show me before we look at your chakra reading? Explosive. I'm seeing the image of a volcano, again a mountain, the mountain climber in him ascending to the peak. So, yeah, I think what I see in this picture is drive, an amazing drive, an amazing. I think what the power is that I see in him is undeterred ambition to experience and learn. Somehow and somewhere along the line things got away from him. I want to see if I can bring in Lady Frieda now, because these are your artworks, and I'm using this picture of her. I did get her image. You can't really see that. I did get her image earlier on today. She was in a silk kind of negligee. There is a picture of her in that younger version of her on the net. That's the image that I got for her. But I went with this one because I think this is the grandness of the... She deserved to be called Lady Frieda Harris. I want to show you some of the Toth deck. So we've got the Hierophant here. If we think about this multi-dimensional environment that she was tapping into of Crowley's, you can see the layers of the experiences here. It's not all one-dimensional. And, of course, it incorporates Crowley's experiences with multi-dimensions. The Prince of Discs, or the Prince of Coins, you can see here there was a natural sciences element to this deck. That's what Lady Frieda brought to it. This prince has really tamed the bull. It's not the bull that's dragging the prince. It's the prince controlling with his hand on the disc, on the world, where this bull is going. And so the idea that the Prince of Discs, Prince of Coins, we know it as the Knight of Coins in the Rider-Waite, and that was part of her instruction. She was to replicate the Rider-Waite deck, but bringing in this multidimensional and occult systems. The Prince of Discs is somebody that has learned to control of the earthly realm. And that's where, if we go to the Rider-Waite, his reliability and sustainability and resilience comes from. Because he has learned control of the earthly realm. He's learned to direct he's learned to direct his passage through the earthly realm. And that is earned wisdom. Okay, all right, Lady Frieda, what do you want to say to me? Okay, I'm seeing a cage here, a bird in a cage, and something around freedom. So the cage is not the natural world. The cage is the prison that we make for ourselves at the behest of others. When the cage door is open, the bird is free to move through life with wisdom, through experience. And I think the best of Crowley would have been in that direction had he not veered off uncontrollably through his experience, this experience, and the need to have these experiences. There was that hedonistic, I'm just going to call it hedonistic bent to his nature, which was uncontrollable. However, the bird out of the cage is free to make its own decisions. It's free to become the knight or the Prince of Discs. It's also free to become the devil. And of course, the devil is temptation. Let's see if we can't find the devil in this deck. Or maybe I should just let the devil come out. Don't be fearful of that word. It's an energy more than anything else. The Tower is a very interesting card. Everything is shifting. There's the eye in the sky. Almost like a preordained energy here, a universal preordained event. That fits with the way that I understand the Tower, because it's all about change. Okay, Prince of Swords. I am looking at these cards in another way. I'm understanding them in a very, very deep way now. And I'm glad for that, because I've never thought this... Well, when I didn't know much about this deck, I had concerns, but once I started to look into it, no, I don't have any concerns. Lady Frieda, the artist, was an absolutely exemplary lady. Okay, here's the devil. What are you telling us about the devil? Well, here's the image that came through the window when I was tapping into his energy through the sky, the goat head, I think I mentioned. What is here? Okay, it's a web. There's a web that you can get trapped into. Oh, wow. Yeah, the devil can have that, the greed and avarice. There's that side to it too. He didn't get out of that. He went headlong into that and he got trapped in that. What is that? What is that? Okay, there is this idea of upward movement, perhaps moving through the earthly realm in toward the universe, and it's like the wisdom or the goat is standing atop of or imprisoning these people here in this kind of, imprisoning them in this greed, avarice type of energy, but is actually ascending on the back of their imprisonment, or is holding them down and not allowing them to ascend. So how do they break out of that? How do they move beyond this, the animal or the image that is imprisoning them? I think in terms of the Rider-Waite as well, they break the ties that are keeping them imprisoned. And there's something around a loop here, repeating the same old pattern. If they can break out of that pattern, they can move away and beyond what is imprisoning them. Okay, so he didn't quite make it at the end of the day, but he saw, I think, toward the end of his life, he saw very, very clearly what had, I don't know if I can say gone wrong, but where he had failed to free himself. And so again, that I go back to the devil, the beast. The beast is both controlling and uncontrolled. But the beast isn't the one ascending. But I think it was clear. It's like I see the 7 of Cups as a good card for Crowley. The choices that he made and didn't make, and the pathways that he followed and the pathways that he didn't follow. All right, let's do his chakra reading. So we're going to do the base chakra. I'll just give this a shuffle. The base chakra. The sacral chakra, I'm pretty sure I know what's coming up for him there. The solar plexus chakra, the heart chakra, the wisdom. So the base chakra is the root chakra. That governs our security and our trust in the world. Our early childhood experiences are very important in relation to our base chakra. Our sacral chakra is our confidence, our sexuality, our expression in the world, or lack of it. Again, we're looking for balance in our chakras. The solar plexus is wisdom earned and learned, notches on the belt. The heart chakra is, of course, our ability to love ourselves and love others, the expression of divine love. The throat chakra, of course, is our communication, our voice. Our third eye chakra is our psychic vision, our clairvoyance, our imagination, our ability to project ourselves outside of this current reality, to explore. It'll be interesting to see what he had there, which card he has there. And our crown chakra is our connection to the divine spirit. So, ALEISTER Crowley, can you show me? Spirit, divine spirit, can you show me? Can you help me with Crowley's earthly chakra system, energetic body, which may tell us about this lifetime that I'm reading on. Show me Aleister Crowley's chakras, please. All right, interesting. So, oh God. I think I almost saw him smile. The base chakra is lust. This is actually the strength card. So the way that he was wired in this lifetime, he has that energy. The strength card, being able to tame the beast, to ride the beast in a way, to control the beast. Let's see, that was his potential strength in his root chakra. Sacral chakra is the sun. These are very Leo cards here, or the energy of Leo, the sun. Both the strength and the sun in the Rider-Waite Tarot, of course, correspond with Leo. The sun card here. This is illumination through his sexuality, through his self-expression. It's also happiness. So he found happiness. I think he probably had a pretty good life up to a point. Let's see what is in his. His solar plexus chakra is defeat. It is the Five of Swords. It is the card of abuse of power. So this is a person who was born powerful, very powerful. I can feel it coming from him, and it's daunting. It's daunting. We have here defeat, failure, sabotage, abuse of power. I talked about 1947 when he passed away. He learned at a foundational level in this lifetime, a very powerful existence in this lifetime. What's in the heart chakra? The Knight of Discs. So we talked about the Prince of Discs earlier. Now we have the Knight of Discs. So this card is a little bit different from the Rider-Waite. The court system's a little bit different. I guess the Prince might have been associated with the Page, but I think it's a bit more than a page, a prince. But now we're talking about the Knight of Coins. Okay, so this is somebody that can move through the world, but the horse is slow moving and wants to stop. So he would have been very conflicted in his emotions. Even though he had the ability, I think this is part of the choices that he made, or the poor choices he made, because his biggest lesson in life was defeat and failure and sabotage and abuse of power. And it's almost like he stopped at some point in his life. He stopped feeling almost. Maybe that was when his drug taking was at its maximum. He stopped. His heart chakra stalled almost. Okay. This knight is looking, you see the sun coming up behind him, and he's looking to the horizon, but the horse is wanting to stay here. So he aspired in his heart to ascend, to learn, but somehow he got stuck in the pleasures of the earthly life. Okay, so now we see the throat. Ah, yes, the Knight of Wands. He was able to take this fiery Leo energy, the Knight of Wands, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, fire energy, the Knight of Wands, incredible movement. So his heart basically, at the end of his life, his heart may not have been in what he was doing. It's almost like he died in defeat. He died in learning and in defeat. But he had the ability to bring people along with him through motivating them, through the passion, through the vision to explore, to move, I mean, he did start the church of the religion of Thelema, and this is ascension here as well. And it could have been through passion. There's something here around, maybe that's where he gets his sexual exploits from. There wasn't much that he didn't experience in his lifetime except the light of that final destination eluded him. So he was defeated in his aim. He became that devil. He became locked into that devil card, that devil prison that I was talking about, the loop that kept going around and around. Let's see what was in his third eye. Oh yeah, clarity. The Ace of Swords, the sky, the ascension. He could see, I'm just going to say, the summit of ascension as a master climber, mountain climber. He could see it. He knew it for sure, and he had absolute clarity around it. What was his connection with spirit? His life path was 7. Mars energy, valor. So the strength of his learning in this lifetime, even though you and I can't see it, was his ability to learn through his defeat. And the devil card again, being caught. And that's the lesson for all of us, being unable to break out of the loop. Base of the pack, Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups is the card of self-love, self-care. I'd like to think that in his next lifetime he looks after himself a bit better. We've got death and ending. Death and endings. I think he died in a pretty poor circumstance. And we have the nine of discs, or the 9 of pentacles, 9 of discs, and this is gain. So what did he gain at the end of his life? I think he gained wisdom, which if we look at his occult system, and again coming back to Lady Frieda and her connection with Rudolf Steiner, the philosopher and anthroposophist, human wisdom. And so somehow these three are linked. And it's a very complex and at times for Crowley tawdry story. But getting back to the deck, which is what brought me into this reading to begin with on All Hallows Eve here in Australia, which when I release it will be your All Hallows Eve, was a growing respect and understanding of this particular deck. So, Lady Frieda, what messages do you have to, given you were the artist, 5 years of your life, creating such an intricate deck, working with Crowley, working with Steiner, studying your art, perfecting your art. What are the messages you have for us? What are the messages you have for us? Prudence, 8 of Pentacles, hard work. This is like a very abundant plant that is yielding so much through her skill. It's the card of great skill. It's actually beautiful. Prudence. Prudence. Her life path was very different to Crowley's. Hers was learning and attaining and practicing her skills. And so prudence is a good word for her. The Hierophant, again, the Hierophant is number 5, change, but it's also the card of the spirit, divine spirit, spiritualism. Her skill was very deeply what I would call spiritual, but in a very earthly, transmuting the earth and spirit, the encompassing way. And we've got the Eight of Swords, interference. This is your own thoughts here, almost creating a blockage. So that's interesting. Interference. I'm getting an accent on 8s here. 8 in numerology is, okay. She was not concerned with money. And in fact, Lady Frieda, the title lady could have been a irony, a thumbing of the nose at the aristocracy in England, in the UK. Her message here is that focusing on money, and I think I got this a long time ago. Focusing on money for money's sake interferes with the real building of skill. And we've got the full new starts, potentiality here. Prudent, being prudent, a deep connection with spirit, and the potentiality of life. I don't think she was going to let anybody get in her way at all. Not society, nobody. And here we have the attainment of power. Very, very different life to Crowley's. However, we've got strength, the card of lust in this deck, and the Princess of Swords. The truth about real strength. Again, the truth about real strength. I'm going to look at this card, the lust card, and I'm going to do some meditation on it. It doesn't mean, sexuality, although that does go with strength, doesn't it? Strength and confidence. I'll have a look at that, more on that later. All right, wow, Crowley, let's see if there's any last messages here that he wants to give us before we finish this pretty complex, heavy type of channeling. Aleister Crowley. Don't let victory be a vice around or a yoke or a vice around your neck. Valor instead sits much more comfortably. Much more comfortably. That's, I think, what he learned. It's not about victory, attaining the peak. It's more about valor. And so that was his life path number, valor. Learning. Through learning. Valor through learning. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I hope this wasn't too spooky for you. It certainly was for me when I first started the reading, but I knew if I took the time to understand, I wouldn't be so fearful. And yes, Spirit is in the room here tonight. All right, thank you for tuning in, and bye for now.